video, which is in the ongoing series on time and how we divide up time and group time in music, in this video I want to introduce you to compound time. Now, in the previous videos on this, we've talked about beat. We've talked about how in Western music the beat is very important. It's a constant pulse that drives the music forward. We've talked about the fact that we assign the beat a number of beats per minute. So we may say there are going to be 60 beats in a minute. We also assign the beat a note value. And we've looked at something called simple time, where the note value is assigned, and we know that the beat in simple time can be divided evenly into two parts. We also know that there is another type of time. That time is compound time. And in compound time, the beat can be divided into three equal parts. And so today, we're going to look at, in this video, we're going to look at compound time. Now, you should have already watched the other videos up to this point and the one immediately before this on simple time, as I will be referencing some of that material. And if you have a full understanding of that, then this is the next logical step. So, compound time. Compound time is the term we have for when the beat is divisible by 3. It gives a uniquely different feel to the music, more of a lilting feel, a feel of a dance-like lilting feel to the music. And I used When Johnny Comes Marching Home Again as my example for this in an earlier video, because it has that lilting feel. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'm saying, when I say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the division of the beat there. The beat is 1, 2, 1, 2. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, with that division inside. So that's compound time. How can you tell you're dealing with compound time? Well, the top number on the time signature will be a 6, 9, or 12 for compound time. A 6, 9, or 12. As always, the bottom number in any time signature, whether it be simple time or compound time, the bottom number is going to represent a note value, and we've looked at those in an earlier video as well. So the bottom number could be any number that represents a note value. You could have 6, 4 time. 6 is telling you that you're in compound time. I'll tell you specifically what it means, how it's describing the number of beats in a moment. The 4 is telling you that there are quarter notes involved in this time signature and in the way that we create and divide our time up into our various measures. So 6, 4 is an example of a compound time. We know it's compound, it's got a 6 on the top, and the 4 underneath relates to a particular note value. And you could do the same with any of the others. We could have a 9, 16 time, or we could have 12, 2 time. Again, the bottom number refers to a note value. The top number tells you that it is compound time. It tells you a little bit more than that, but we'll get to that in a moment. So 6, 9, or 12 on the top, and a number on the bottom that represents a note value. Now, what does the number on the top tell you, other than that it's compound time? Well, it tells you how many beats, but you have to understand a little bit. Remember that the beat in compound time splits into 3 equal parts. So to find out how many beats there are in compound time, you want to divide this number, 6, 9, or 12, by 3. And that will give you the number of beats in each measure. So if I divide this by 3, I end up with beats. There are 2 beats. If I divide this by 3, I end up with 3 beats. If I divide this, I end up with 4 beats. All right? This is the number of beats. All right? The number of beats in each of these time signatures. So if I have compound time, anything with a 6 on the top, it has 2 beats. If I have 9, anything with 9 on the top, there are 3 beats. If I have a 12 on the top, there are 4 beats. Now, I'm going to stop and I'm just going to point out, this will be different from what some of you will have learnt and some of you will have understood in the past. You will have seen a time signature like this, 6, 8, and you will have been told there are 6/8 notes in the measure and therefore there are 6 beats in the measure. That is not true. There are indeed 6/8 notes in the measure. That much is true. But there are 2 beats. And I'll show you how that works in a moment. But I often encounter that people have come across time signatures like 6/8 time, and they've been told that means there's 6/8 notes and therefore 6 beats in the measure. It's not true. In 6/8 time, there are 2 beats. And to understand that, you need to first of all know that 6, 9, or 12 is the top number, and that 6 means there's 2 beats. You divide it by 3 because the beat is divisible by 3, and you end up with 2. You divide this by 9, it becomes 3. Divide this by 3, it becomes 3. Divide 12 by 3, you get 4. 2, 3, or 4 beats in each of these. So let's look at some examples, and hopefully now it will start to make sense. So remember that the other element with compound time is that the beat is represented by a dotted value. So another element in compound time is always the beat is dotted. Right? So you'll see what I mean by that in a moment. Let's look over here. So I've written out here one measure of 6/8 time. Now certainly it is true that 6/8 means there are 6/8 notes, and you can just read that, you can write down 6/8 notes. That is one measure, would contain the equivalent of 6/8 notes. And that's true. However, not all those 8th notes are beats. Remember, in compound time, the beat is divisible by 3, and you need a dotted note value to represent the beat. That's the other. The beat is dotted, and we know, because it's a 6, that there are 2 beats. So we have to come up with 2 dotted notes that represent the 2 beats in that measure. So the way we do it is we group the 8th notes, the 6/8 notes that it tells us we have, we group them together into groups of 3. I've bracketed them, you can see. And then we find one note that will represent those 3 8th notes. And here you will see that you have one dotted quarter note is the equivalent of 3 8th notes. If I have 2 8th notes, that makes 1 quarter note. If I have one more 8th note, I need to add a dot to the quarter note to cover that value. Remember, a dot increases the note by half its original value. So 2 8th notes plus 1 would be a quarter note plus a dot. And that would also then be true over here for the second half of the measure. These are the beats. The dotted quarter note is the beat. The 8th notes are showing you how the beat divides into 3. We can see the same thing here. I've got 9/16 notes in this measure. This is 9/16 time. It certainly is a plausible time signature, not a common one, but certainly one that could be used. And what would we do with that? Well, first of all, we write out what the time signature is telling us. It's telling us 9/16 notes. We write 9/16 notes out. But then we remember that we are in compound time, where 9 means we have 3 beats. So to find the 3 beats, we have to group the 16th notes into 3s and find one note that will represent each of those groups of 3. So if we've done it right, if 9 means there's 3 beats, then if we've done it right, we will have 3 groups of 3 and ultimately 3 notes that represent the beat. And in this case, dotted 8th notes are representing 3 16th notes, an 8th note plus a dot. Finally, just the same kind of thing, same principle this time, 12/4 time. Again, write out what it's telling you. 12/4 time, 12 quarter notes. Here are the 12 quarter notes written out along the top. Because it's 12, we know we have 4 beats, right? We have 4 beats. So we need to group our quarter notes, our 12 of them, into 4 groups of 3. Each beat is able to be divided by 3. We group them according to their beat groups. We want 4 groups, each with 3 parts. So we have 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. We're looking for, when there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you see that? We are looking for one note that will represent the beat, one note that will stand for all 3 of these notes. And so it would be a combination of 2 of them added together, which is a half note plus a dot for the other one, a dotted half note. We have 4 dotted half notes for the beat. That means in 12/4 time we will feel 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. But behind that beat we will feel the division of the beat into 3/4 notes. Ta 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 ta. 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. The division of the beat into a sense of 3. Ta 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 ta, giving a lilting feeling, a dance-like feeling to the music as a whole. So that is compound time. Simple time, we've already looked at. This is compound time. In the next video, I'm going to take a moment just to compare and contrast them. I'm not going to share really any new information. I'm simply going to take a moment to compare and contrast simple and compound time right next to each other. But make sure you understand simple time and make sure you understand the information here in compound time, that you can identify a compound time signature by the top number, know the number of beats, realize about the dotted beat value, and do a little bit of gathering together to be able to figure it out and represent it in this way. If you get all of that, you understand that, you feel confident with that, go on to the next video and I'll do a little comparison of simple and compound time. Thank you.